going to switch gears here a bit and talk about the shooting death of a 5-year-old that happened late last night, early this morning. Again, another child getting a hold of a gun. It's heartbreaking to say that this child found a gun in a home without any appropriate supervision. The gun was not properly secured, and sadly the child, being inquisitive as children are, turned a gun on himself, and it appears at this point, investigation is still relatively new, that the child shot himself. He succumbed to his injuries at an area hospital. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival at the hospital. And how many times are we going to stand here and have these pleas to people who have weapons to properly secure them? Way too often we're standing here with the same plea. We have gun locks. We will bring you a gun lock. We will be out on the street this afternoon. I will be out there this afternoon in a community with gun locks. We can give you a gun lock. Secure your weapon. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what happened with this case other than to say the weapon was unsecure. The caregiver was not doing that, giving care for the children. There were 2 children in the home, and sadly the 5-year-old shot himself. Commander McGinnis is going to come up and talk a little bit high level about that case. Again, there's certain information we cannot get into yet. We do have someone in custody. We want to make sure that we submit a clean warrant to the prosecutor's office for charges in the near future. Commander.
Thank you, sir. So this incident occurred yesterday evening at about 10:30 p.m. in the 19700 block of Oakman. As Chief mentioned, our victim is a 5-year-old male. His brother, a 7-year-old male, was present in the house when this occurred, along with a 29-year-old male described to be the uncle who is in police custody at this time. The uncle was the person that had care and custody of the children at the time of the incident. We've spoken to mother, and of course she's very distraught. She's been very cooperative with our investigation, and we will be submitting warrant requests to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office for her review on issuing charges against the individual who's in custody, who had care and custody of the children at the time of the incident. Thank you.
All right, at this time we'll take any questions.
What weapon was used in the shooting of the 5-year-old? Kind of weapon?
I have to correct myself. It was Oakfield, not Oakman. I apologize on the street. That's part of the investigation. It appears it was a handgun, but unfortunately I can't give you any more details at this time.
Okay. And where was it found? I don't know if you can say that.
At this time I'm not able to elaborate on that.
And Chief, if charges are approved by the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, I mean, we talk a lot in here about punishments or lack thereof. What do you want folks to know? There are consequences in these cases.
Yeah, and I know that the prosecutor is working on some legislation with regards to people who don't properly secure their weapon that causes this type of situation to happen. But there's already some things on the books, reckless endangerment, child neglect. I mean, I'm not sure exactly the direction that the investigation will take us. But what I want people to know is, owning a gun, as we've said many times, I don't forget any of these children that are shot or murdered in our city, and certainly those that we deem as clearly preventable. And what's clearly preventable is if you have to have a weapon in your home and there are children in your home, secure the weapon. We've been here too many times, talking about this, and it's really a sad moment when no one is taking it serious. And now we have to bury another child in our community, one of Detroit's children that will not be able to grow up, not be a newscaster, not be the police chief, not be a border police commissioner, not be a council person. Gone, 5 years old. And if we have I'm going to say it, an obsession with guns. And if you're going to partake in this obsession with weapons, you have to partake in the responsibility of securing the weapon. And that's just it, period. So the takeaway is there's going to be consequences when you don't do that, and we're going to be submitting a warrant.
Chief, was there a search at a neighbor's house in this case?
I don't know. There were several search warrants executed, but I can't speak specifically as to which house was hit as a result of the search warrant. As I indicated, we got a lot of requests on information on this case. A lot of people are touched by yet another child being lost in our community, so we found it necessary to brief out the community based on the requests that we've received. But this case is very, very active. I mean, there are people on the ground right now looking at pieces to this case, so I can't get into too much specific detail other than to let the community know, again, this is a result of negligence, and this is not a child that was targeted. This is negligence.
And then Chief, also, we know this is not the first time this is a new
No.
attempt. Can you speak at all about the stats?
Yeah, I know. I didn't bring the stats with me, and we were looking at them, and we can provide you that after this briefing. But too many, and we pray that this is the last time I'm standing here on this subject. I hope that someone that's listening makes a decision to secure the weapon. Everyone thinks it can't happen to them until it does. If you have children are inquisitive. They're young. They're doing what they're supposed to do as children. And oftentimes, when you look at the things that they play with, they're guns, right? They're play guns. They're using video games that are shooting, and so they see a gun. It's not unreasonable for them to think that it's a toy. So if you have a gun and a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, secure it.
Chief, did the gun belong with the uncle or the family or the house?
At this point, we're still looking at all of that. We know who our caregiver was, so he inherited the responsibility to do just that. We're looking at the gun ownership piece and all of that as it relates to who should have had possession. But as a caregiver, we know there was a weapon in his home, and he was responsible for being the caregiver, and that's a huge responsibility.